Hi, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. I make videos about books. Please hit the subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. Today's video, I will be reading 4 new release books that I am so excited about, and I've put other videos aside to do this one because these are just 4 books that I cannot wait to read. So I'm going to be reading them for this video and vlogging my experience. So let's go over the 4 books that I will be reading. I have 2 of them and 2 of them I do not have yet. So let's go. The first one is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. Recently, and I'll put that video up above, I reread The House in the Cerulean Sea and absolutely loved it, and am trying to get on the TJ Klune, at least adult train. So we'll be reading this one. The next one is a quiet book that I am very excited about and have heard really good things about, and that is What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez. And this is about a girl who went missing and her family is trying to find her, and I, for some reason, really like missing persons cases. They fascinate me. So when it was happening in book form, I was all about it. The next one is The Fiancé Farce by Alexandra Bellefleur. I love Alexandra Bellefleur's In the Stars series, Written in the Stars, that series. It's all queer, and this is another sapphic novel, and I am so excited about this one. I was reading the arc of it and soft DNF'd it because I just wasn't in the right headspace to read physically, but I got an arc from Libro FM, so I will be, an audio arc from Libro FM, so I will be listening to that. And then the last one, which probably is the one I am most excited for, is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I read No Exit last year and immediately got on the Taylor Adams train, and this book has been compared to Misery by Stephen King, which I have not read yet, but it is about a book reviewer who leaves an author a 1-star review, and the author goes after the reviewer. And as a book reviewer, I have much interest in this book. So these are the 4 books that I will be reading for this video. Roll the vlog. I am 27% into The Last Word. Obsessed. So we're following Emma, who is house sitting. I think she's in the Pacific Northwest, but she's house sitting and she's by herself and she has all this free time on her hands, so she just keeps reading. And her neighbor suggested a book to her and she read it and gave it 1 star and gave it a 1-star review on Amazon. And so on Amazon, the author of the book commented and was like, "This is going to hurt my sales. Can you delete it?" And Emma is like, "No. Reviews are for readers. I will not take down my review," so more power to her. But the part where I just stopped, the author has found her, and apparently he gets inspiration for his novels based on real life events. So I believe that Emma is going to be the inspiration for his next novel. I'm really liking the audiobook. It's 2 narrators, so it's Emma and then H.G. something, whatever the author's name is. But this is really good so far. I've laughed, and also as a book reviewer, I feel for Emma. Also, a couple years ago, this kind of happened. Not that I think the author tried to murder the book reviewer, but an author got a bad review from a book reviewer on Goodreads, and the author tracked down the book reviewer and threatened her. So this shit did actually happen in real life. So I think that that's even scarier. But so far I'm really liking this, especially because I did read Hairpin Bridge for another video and I didn't really like that one. But this is on par for me with No Exit. So I am liking this one a lot. I am 64% into The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I'm absolutely loving it. It is super fast paced. It's also quite slow. I mean, slow? What? No. It's short. I think the audiobook was only 9 hours, which in my opinion is really short, but it's so fast paced that last night I didn't want to stop listening to it, but I literally had to go to bed. So a lot has happened, and we found out why Emma is by herself, like basically in isolation in this cabin house sitting, which I saw coming, so like that didn't matter. But something else was revealed about the neighbor, and something happened to the neighbor, and it was just like this is good, but I feel like it's not super original, which is fine, but like I'm still really liking it. It's just not like super original. Like I thought No Exit was like super original and really intense, and this is really intense, but I don't think it's super original. But I have 40% left, so like what could happen? Like I feel like I'm nearing the end. Like it feels like a movie. It feels like a horror movie. Like, but what could happen? I have no idea what's gonna happen. I finished The Last Word. I finished it so fast because it was pretty short, but I just like couldn't put it down, and it was a great time. I think this was a great book to start with for this video. I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. I definitely didn't like it as much as No Exit, but I'm telling you, since the last time I checked in for this video and finishing it, there were twists on top of twists on top of twists. Like Taylor Adams just kept them coming. So I was really impressed, and there were obviously several twists that I did not see coming, and I had a very good time with this. I just thought the concept of this one was really good, and I know it is being compared to Misery, which I haven't read yet, but am looking forward to reading. And like I said, this, not the whole like murder scheme, but author did confront a book reviewer in real life, and it was like a big deal a couple years ago in the book community. So this overall was a good time. I have the audiobook, but I would like to have this physically. Like I feel like I would read this again, just like looking for clues the next time I read it. And I usually buy books that are 4 and 5 stars, so I would like to add this to my collection eventually. But this was a really good time. I highly recommend this one. I think if you liked No Exit, you would really like this one because it's so fast-paced like No Exit. So 4.5 for The Last Word, and I put it up on 5 on Goodreads. Hey, so normally I would do 3+ updates of a book when I'm reading it. However, I was absolutely too lazy to do an update. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I was just too lazy to get off the couch and come in here and do any kind of update, and that's on me. But I did finish What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez last night. I listened to it in one sitting. The audiobook at regular time speed is 6 hours, so I completed it in less than 2 hours. And like I said, I was just too lazy to get up off the couch. So I will be talking to you about what this book is about and my rating. So this book is about Ruthie Ramirez, who goes missing in 1996 after track practice. She was supposed to get the bus and she never came home. And then we fast forward to present time, and her mom and 2 sisters are still like grappling with their missing sibling and daughter. And this was pitched to me as a mystery, which is why I picked it up, because I really like mystery thrillers. This was not a mystery or a thriller. This was a contemporary family drama, which is not what I signed up for. So I ended up giving this 2 stars. I listened to the audiobook, and looking at other reviews, it seems like the author narrated the book itself, and I did not enjoy it. I thought that the narration was super choppy, and like overall, this whole experience just did not work for me. The fact that this was pitched as a mystery and then it was a contemporary family drama honestly pissed me off. And on Goodreads, I double checked to make sure I wasn't losing it. It still says mystery thriller in the genres on Goodreads, and I know that that can be skewed by anyone who is a librarian, but they like really messed up on this one because it's absolutely not mystery. What happens is the siblings are watching a reality TV show and they believe that Ruthie is one of the contestants. So they go and try to find this Ruthie, who they believe is their Ruthie. And that's like the whole premise. That is it. This book is 240 pages. And that felt too long because I feel like the author had like a really, really good idea of where they wanted this story to go. But on paper and on audiobook, it did not translate. So I absolutely did not like this. I'm going to give it 2 stars and I will be unhauling it. I got it from Aardvark, which was cheaper than if I had gotten it like at my local indie. But like I still feel ripped off because this was mismarketed. And if there is one thing I hate, it is when books are mismarketed. Like I feel like romances are being mismarketed as romances when they're really like contemporary fiction. And that just like, it grinds my gears. So this one grinded my gears and it was not a mystery like I had promised. So unfortunately I did not like this, and I could go on and on about why I did not like this, but just know that I did not like this. And if you are looking for a mystery, it's not one. 2 stars. I am 47% into the Fiancé Farce. I was once again too lazy to get off the couch, but I did get off the couch to update. So we are following Tansy, I hate that name, and Gemma, and they agreed to not fake marry. They are really going to marry each other, but is a marriage a convenience? Gemma can't get the inheritance of her grandfather's company until she marries someone. And Tansy wants to own her father's bookstore that her stepmother is about to sell, and Gemma is a millionaire. So Gemma is going to buy the bookstore and Tansy is going to help Gemma get the company. I'm liking this a lot so far. I actually read the arc of this and only made it to 25%, and I just feel like, I don't know, I couldn't concentrate on it or whatever, so I was just like, that's fine, I'm going to wait until I get the audiobook. So now I'm listening to the audiobook and it's working out. It's not miscommunication, but it's like jumping to conclusions, I guess. There's been a couple instances of that, but there has been good communication when there has been like instances of, oh, I'm hearing this about you, can you explain it to me? And they have been like communicating very well. So I do appreciate that. This is like definitely different from Alex Bellaflour's Written in the Stars series, and I kind of like it. Like I'm liking the vibe of this a lot, and I like both Tansy and Gemma a lot. So I'm liking this. This is going well. I am 66% into the Fiancé Farce. I'm liking it, but I honestly feel like it's very okay right now. Like I'm not super invested in this. I don't know how to explain it to you. But also, I'm not like super into romance anymore. And even though this is sapphic romance and this should like be exactly what I want, I still just feel like it's okay. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know yet. It feels like a 3. So I finished the Fiancé Farce, and I think I said that I had this as an arc and I like DNF'd the arc. And I probably should have just kept this as a DNF because I didn't really like this. I just like felt nothing for this. Like I thought the writing was okay, but I just didn't like the story, and I didn't really like Tansy or Gemma. I didn't really like this. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I'm gonna unhaul this, even though I just got it. So I got this from my local bookstore, part of their book club. This was the book club pick. So this wasn't like a book, I mean, obviously it was on my radar, but like, I probably wouldn't have bought it because I didn't like the arc, but I had no choice because it was a book club pick. Anyway, I didn't really like this. I don't know. It did nothing for me, but I really like Alexandra Bellaflour's other series, Written in the Stars. So like, I would still try her next book, but I didn't like this. I am 31% into In the Lives of Puppets. Honestly, I saved this one for last because I'm scared of it. Like, I don't know if House in the Cerulean Sea was like a one-off fluke for me, so that's why I'm scared of this one. Also, this audiobook is very long. It's like 15 hours, and even at 3 times speed, it's like over 4 hours. 15? What did I say? I'm having I'm not awake. I don't know what's going on with me. At 3 times speed, whatever I said, it's still over 4 hours, which I think is quite long. But what I did not know is that this is a take on Pinocchio, and I don't think I've ever seen Pinocchio. I have no interest in Pinocchio. I am not a Disney girly. Is Pinocchio Disney? I don't know. But we are following 3 robots. And here's the issue I have with the audiobook. The audiobook narrator is the same narrator as House in the Cerulean Sea. And if you have listened to House in the Cerulean Sea, you know that the voice of Chauncey is really distinct. However, that narrator is using Chauncey's voice for another character in The Lives of Puppets. And it is very confusing because I feel like I should be listening to in the Cerulean Sea, House in the Cerulean Sea. So it wouldn't be me if I didn't complain about audiobooks. So that was me complaining about it, and now I'm over it. But we are following 3 robots who are like in the forest. I don't know why. But a human was like dropped off and rescued by these robots, and his name is Victor. Then, so where I am now is Victor has just repaired this robot named Hap. And so that's where I am now. But based on the description, we're going to like find out what happened to this robot Hap. Right now, Hap doesn't remember like anything about what happened to them and like why they can't remember anything. So I think the story will go into like Hap and Victor's friendship. I have no real thoughts about this yet. It took me quite a long time to get into House in the Cerulean Sea, and this is a lot bigger than House in the Cerulean Sea, but my biggest grievance is the audiobook, and obviously that one distinct voice that I will always associate with Chauncey is being with another character in The Lives of Puppets. But that's it so far. I am 62% into In the Lives of Puppets. I'm not really liking it. So these cast of characters are on a quest, and we have been on the quest since the last time I have updated, which is quite a long time. So they've run into obstacles, they've done all these things, and the thing is, I'm not a quest girly because I'm not a fantasy girly, and you know, this is a cozy fantasy. This is, I would say, more fantasy than House in the Cerulean Sea. And I talked about this in the video that I did, House in the Cerulean Sea, but I had a really hard time imagining the cast of characters in House in the Cerulean Sea because that's just not how my brain works, and I'm having the same issues with this. And once again, I will bring it back to the audiobook, but they should have done a completely different narrator because I feel like I'm following Chauncey around, but it's like Chauncey and Linus and like all these people. But it's a completely different cast of characters, and they should have done a different audiobook narrator because I personally am confused. And maybe that's just me, but like I associate that narrator with House in the Cerulean Sea. So that, it could be a me problem. Most of the time it is, so whatever. But this just isn't hitting like House in the Cerulean Sea did. Like right now this feels like a 3-star, unless like there's a really, really heartwarming ending. Like endings are really, really important to me in books. So I have an hour and a half left of this audiobook, and honestly anything could happen. But right now this just like, this is just not the book for me. I don't think it's a bad book. I just don't think it's the book for me. Also, it's so long, like way too long. I finished In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune, and for Rowan's here. Hi. So for a majority of this, I thought it was 3 stars. Bye. Bye. Then I cried. So I gave it 4 stars. Then I have been thinking about it for over an hour, and I'm gonna give it 5 stars. My emotions with this were all over the place. I do think it was a little bit too long, like especially the middle with the whole voyage. I'm not gonna tell you what it's about because I do feel like it's a spoiler, but the whole journey, voyage, whatever, too long for me. It was unnecessary, but I I loved this book. I highly recommend it. It was definitely out of my comfort zone. Robots is definitely out of my comfort zone, like not something I would normally pick up, but since I loved In the Cerulean Sea, that's why I wanted to pick this up. So let me do a wrap up. The first book that I finished was The Last Word by Taylor Adams, and I gave that 5 stars. I got it from Book of the Month, so it should be coming soon. The next was What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez. I did not like this. This was not a mystery. This was family drama, which I did not like. The next was The Fiancé Farce, which I also didn't like. 3 stars. I just I still don't care about this book. Like, it did nothing for me. And then last, also 5 stars for In the Lives of Puppets. So these were my very anticipated reads that I finished. So excited that I got to some of them. So thanks for watching my video. See you in my next one. Bye!
Losing time, I'm fading fast.